I'm in the cypress swamps of Southwest Florida scouting a new place to photograph birds. And although it may seem counterintuitive, if you want to see more birds in your next outing, just follow these simple steps. You know, we've all been taught that the way to see more birds or more animals when you're out photographing for wildlife is just to move slowly through an area. And that sounds good, and it especially help you cover a lot more ground, but the way I like to do things, especially when I'm scouting a new area, is find a spot that looks promising and then stay put. When I walked into this spot this morning, it was a little after sunrise, but it's a cloudy day today, so all the birds were really slow about getting off the roost. But when I walked in, I kind of walked through the swamps for a while, then I found this spot. It's kind of a seam in the habitat. We've got a lot of open water behind me. In front of me is just kind of some broken habitat, some low willows, some high cypress trees, some pond apple, just a variety of habitat. And so this is the spot I thought it would look good. And so when I walked in, a lot of the birds flew out because I spooked them. I was the first person they saw today. But if you just stop, be still, be quiet, and listen, a lot of times the birds will calm down and they'll start to come back. And what I mean by stop is don't make any sudden movements. I'm not just completely still, but I have anchored myself to this one general location. And when you stop and pay attention to an area for a while, you'll start noticing a lot of the birds that are kind of hidden in the trees. They may have flown up from where they were, but they haven't flown off because they recognize this spot for whatever reason is a good spot to feed. And even right now behind me, there's a lot of fish jumping, so there's a lot of wading birds in this area. And so they may fly just one level of trees back. But if you stop and you pay attention, you'll start seeing them sitting in the trees, and then over time, they become accustomed to you, and then they'll start working their way back. So I've been here about an hour, and I bet I've seen, as far as individual birds, 30 or 40 individual birds. Probably that represents, I don't know, half a dozen, 6 or 8 species of birds. But when I first got here, there was none. And once I waited for a second, they all started filtering back in. And the next thing I do, and this is really a good tip for just to become a better naturalist, which if you become a better naturalist, you become a better wildlife photographer, and that's just to listen. And I've heard some bird sounds this morning that I've never heard before, and turns out once I saw the bird doing it, it was a green heron. They make a croaking sound that I'd never heard before. There's a variety of apps like Merlin that can help you identify sounds, but the more I learn bird sounds and the better I become at it, the more I am at birding, the better I am at birding, and the better I become at being just a naturalist and understand what I'm seeing and listening to. The more you understand about animal behavior, the better you can get closer to them and the better photographs you're going to get. And really the last thing I do is just be patient. You know, wildlife photography is an exercise in patience. The animals don't always do what you want them to do. And so it's best to have an attitude of flexibility and really an attitude of gratefulness, and just the fact that you get to be out here and you get to experience nature. Just in the time I've been here, I've seen a lot of wildlife. And I know the urge when you come to a new place is just to cover a lot of ground. And I've covered some ground this morning just to walk into here, but if you'll just get to one spot, be patient, and just be quiet and move purposefully, the wildlife, especially if they're not harassed all the time, will eventually get used to you and start coming back. Like right now, I'm looking around, I've got 2 little blue herons, some anhingas, an alligator, a great white heron literally 5 yards away from me right here, some green herons behind me, black crowned night herons. I see all kinds of birds around me. Now when I first walked in here, they weren't here, but I followed that simple step of getting to a spot, stopping, being quiet, and starting to pay attention, not only look but listen to what's around you. And after a while, things start coming back in. So next time you're in the wild, try that. Get to a spot, be still, look, listen, and observe, and you'll be amazed at how many things you're able to see from just one location.